Hello again everybody, it's Andy here from AM Media Games, and in today's video I'm going to be going over some basic to intermediate modelling tips, and we're going to create a model together. Now I haven't got any kind of structure or plan to this video. It was kind of one of those videos where you just go, I'm just going to record making a model, and I just fancy showing people how to learn from scratch. So bear with me, there might be some moments where I kind of go back on myself, delete something, redo something, and I might go on a random tangent and a random talking spree about complete nonsense. So just go with the flow, see what happens. Okay, so this is Blender, new version 4.4.3, and down here we have my screencast keys. So if I press a key, you can see it pops up on screen. Every now and again it might go quiet, or I might mute the audio. It's only because I'm trying to edit out coughs, sneezes, burps, anything else of the sort, just to try and make it a little bit more of a pleasant experience. So like the video if you like it, share it with others to learn too, and hit the subscribe button, helps support the channel, helps it grow, reach a wider audience, helps other people learn. So what we're going to model today is we're going to model a spray can. I recently released and uploaded a 3D model of a what would you call it, a medical Resident Evil style medical spray first aid thing that they have in the game. So I'm going to show people how to model one, unwrap it, and then in the second video I'm going to show you how to fully texture it. Now I do use Substance Painter, which is paid software, so I know that's not exactly fair on everybody, but you can download my model for free over on Sketchfab, AM Media Games, on Sketchfab. So I'll put the link will be in the description. Okay, rant over. Let's get to it. So first thing we're going to do is add in a reference image. So we're going to press 1, Shift A, and go to Image, Reference, Desktop. I should have a reference image somewhere. This one will do, and then Import. So we can see here we have a spray bottle, the neck of the bottle there, the body of the bottle here, base, the little rivet, and the cap or spray nozzle valve thing at the top. So let's start. So we're going to go and click on our image, because this is a little bit overblown, exposure is a bit too high because it's white. So we're going to drop the opacity down, which should reduce the brightness. So we're going to click here and then drop that down, and then we can see that a little bit more clearly where we have our edge. We're going to bring this up, so G and Z, and I'm going to bring that up so it's just there. What I'm looking for here is this point here, so we're going to go up a little bit higher, so it's just here, so we get this curve. This image isn't really perfectly centered, and it's taken on a slight angle, so we have this curve. This curve will bend here, which wouldn't really work very well to model it in, so we're just going to add that after. So let's do a vertice modeling by following the edge of our model. There's quite a few ways that we could do this, but for the sake of this video I'm just going to do vertice modeling, following the edge line, and then we're going to use a spin tool to finish those results, and then we're going to fine tune it afterwards. So let's go ahead and do Shift A. I'm going to go to a mesh. I'm going to add in a plane. You can see here that we have our plane added in, and this red and white thing that you can see here, just there, that is our 3D cursor. Now wherever the 3D cursor is, I'll show you. Let's move it, hold shift and right click to place it. Wherever our 3D cursor is wherever it will spawn the model. And the origin point of that model, which is the center point, will spawn in the center of that 3D cursor. So if your 3D cursor is accidentally out of the way, over here or over here, you just hold shift and press C, and that will reset the camera and reset your 3D cursor. Another thing that we have to do, we're going to press N, and we want to remove view clipping. Now view clipping is, if I was to zoom in on this model, and you can see here we have this clip section. So if I was to go to clip start and set that to 0.001, we can now have that model back. It's the most annoying thing ever, especially when you're trying to zoom in and do fine details. So let's press N, get rid of that menu, and let's start the modeling. So we're going to select our plane, press tab, which will take us into edit mode. You can do that here. We want to be in vertices selection, which is this one. This is edge, and this is faces. So face, edge, and vertices. The vertices are these here. This is a vertice. This is an edge, and this here is the face. So this is an edge, 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 and edge, and this is the face, and these are the vertices. Okay, so let's carry on. Select them all with A, and then we're going to right click, go down to merge, and then at center. So what's happened now is it's taken all of those 4 vertices. It knows that the center point is where that origin point is, the orange thing. Excuse me for yawning, I'm just tired. And the 3D cursor there is in the center as well. So we have a little tiny vertice, little dot right in the center there. So we're going to press 1 on the numpad, and I'm going to zoom in. I'm going to bring that and press E, and we can see here we can move this around. We've extruded from the vertice, made a second vertice, and now we can move this vertice around. So we're going to press X so we can slide it across. We can just about see it. Look, if you look here, you'll see it just there. I'm going to move that to the bottom, and then we're going to go and follow this, and then we're going to go and E, Z, and move that up all the way up to about here, and then E, move that out. Just press E and then move your mouse just to guide it along that edge line, and then you're going to trace out that pattern. And then I'm going to follow this up. Another method you can use is if you hold Control and right click, it will place the vertice wherever that mouse cursor is. And if you hold Shift, if you can see how quick this is, if you hold Shift, it slows down the movement for you as well, so you get fine tuning. Okay, once we've done that, once we've modelled, I'm going to leave that bit because I'm going to consider that the cap, and this is like the base of the cap. I'm going to consider this all as one piece, and I'll consider this as a separate piece. I think the dog's about to have a drink. Right on cue, just when I'm recording. Okay, so let's go top down view, 7, numpad, zoom in, select our mesh, go to spin tool, which is this one, zoom out a little bit, hold Control, click and drag, there we go, hold Control, and then snap it in place. Now let's hide this for a second, and you can see here that we have the full spray can shape completely outlined now, which is perfect. We can work with this. Shouldn't be an issue at all. If we shade that smooth, we can see we've got a shader issue. There's no supporting edge loops here, so this is a long straight face and it's just struggling to give it decent shading. So if we go into edit mode, come out of spin tool, selecting this, press Ctrl R, add an edge loop. You can see already, if I right click, it's already fixed most of this. Let's bevel this, Ctrl B. And some edge loops there. There you go. Okay, so let's do some further refining on this model. So let's go over here. Select this one, scale that out. Select this one, scale that out. Double G to edge slide, scale that out a bit more. This one, scale, just like so. That should do, just like that. And then we can do the same here. So let's see what we're working with. Press 2 for edge selection. Hold Alt and click. Zoom out a second. Let's see what we've got. That should be alright, to be fair. We might be able to bevel this. See what it looks like with a bevel. There we go. I'm going to press Ctrl 1 to add a subdivision modifier. And I think and call that good. So let's just clean up the bottom and then we can start working on the upper section where we have our spray nozzle. Let's go into modifiers. Let's get rid of our modifier. Let's fix this bottom piece. So let's delete this. Select this edge. Let's do 1 side view. G and Z to move it down a bit. S to scale that in. That's fine, and then we can press ES, G and Z, ES, G and Z, ES, G and Z, and then ES, scale that in, G and Z, and then from here press 1, right click, and then merge at center. There's our cam bottom done. Yeah, that's fine. Okay. Let's select this upper edge. So edit mode, edge selection, hold Alt and click to get this circle. We're going to press Shift S, cursor to selected. Press Shift A, back in object mode, Shift A, mesh, and then circle. Let's change that to, we'll leave it on 32. Let's scale that in. We want it to be, let's just quickly select this can. Press tab 1 and scale that in just like so, and move that up. Select our circle. Where is it? There it is. G and Z, move that up. Okay, E, Z, move it down. Select this edge. Let's have a quick look at our reference image. Okay, that's fine. And then we're going to go with G and Z, E and S. That's probably about right. Let's have a quick look. Yeah, that's good. Okay. And then let's have a look. E, Z, E, Z. Move that up, just like so. Let's hide our reference. Let's isolate this with the / key, and we can see what we can do now with this. So we want to give it a bit of a dip in the center, like some of the spray nozzles have. It's like so your finger fits comfortably in the center of it, so it's easier to spray without your finger sliding off. So we can do that a few ways. We can select these and we use proportional editing. So proportional editing is kind of the best way to explain it. Is like you have an influence circle, this one here, And the smaller it is, the less influence it has on the surrounding vertices. The bigger it is, the more of an influence it has on the surrounding vertices. So we can do something like this. There you go. Select this face and then grid fill. Simple blending. Oh, actually, let's try that again. Let's go back a few steps. Let's take this edge, let's grid fill it. Simple blending, yep. And then might need to take this one and then use G and Z to move that down. Check this edge, this edge, this one and this one. Control B to bevel, just like so. And then we want to, let's rotate this. And then we want to add the nozzle part. So what we're gonna do is select this part. We're gonna go select the model and then hold Control and press R. We're gonna add a few loops, just like so. Select these, right click, circle, uncheck flatten. There we go. Press I to insert, and then I again to insert. And then we're going to press Alt E, extrude along normals. Ooh, actually, we'll do Alt E, extrude along normals. No, E, and extrude. Let me just quickly make sure there's no overlapping. There we go. So let's select these faces. And press E and Y. There we go. And then I'm going to press I and insert. And then I'm going to press Control R, double G to edge slide, place that just like that. And then again here. And then let's check this. Control 1. Of our spray nozzle, it should be fine. Okay. Let's see if we can sort this out slightly. Let's scale that in, move that up, scale this down a bit. GC. Control 1, Control 1. There we have our nozzle and our can. And what we can do then is we have this line at the side. Let's do 3. Yeah, that'll do. So just here, we can select this, Shift D and X. And we're gonna separate this by selection. So in edit mode, select it like so, right click, separate, selection. With this separated now, what we can do is we can right click on it, convert this to a curve, and this will open up this tab here. We can click on data tab, go to geometry, and then we can hold shift and drag and increase the depth of this. Then what we can do is we can change it from fill mode from full to half, and then we can rotate it. So select it, origin to geometry, GZ180, and then X, move it in position, scale it up, just like so. We can probably make that a little bit bigger. So edit mode, select, Control Alt S, just like so. So now we have that edge. What we do want to do is tidy this up a little bit and make this a little bit more kind of sharper. So let's scale that out slightly, and let's do this one in a bit. Let's go here, see how this will be with a edge loop. No. No. I think that'll be alright, to be fair. I'll leave that as is. Okay, let's turn on Cavity, check our model out. Okay, now let's do some unwrapping. So select our model, Control 2, select this, right click, convert to mesh, shade smooth. Select this one, that's fine. Let's apply this and we'll fix this. So select this like this, and then Control plus, Control plus, Control plus 1, right click, merge at center. There we go. Okay, that's fine. No. That's good, comfortable. This is a tad off scale, and what you can do, let's move the microphone a bit. What you can do to adjust the scale so it's a bit more accurate is you can go to Edit, Preferences, and then if you go to Extensions, type in RIG, go to Add-ons and type RIG and install Rigify. It comes with Blender by default. And what that will enable you to do is, if you press Shift A and go down to Armature, you'll be able to add a meta rig, human, and you can see this is a hell of a large spray bottle. So I'm just going to pause here. I'll be right back. And I'm back. Sorry about that. That was like a 20-minute break. Okay, so where were we? Ah, yes. We have a man on top of a spray can. The man and a spray can. Right, so what I'm going to do is, these are all separate parts at the moment, but let's reset our 3D cursor, Shift C. Let's move this, Shift S, selection to cursor. And we can see here, this is a really good way to scale your object. So this armature rig is around 2 meters tall. Let's confirm that. Let's rotate him on the Y. There we go. So this is a 1 meter square and this is a 1 meter square. So it's literally just on 2 meters. And we can see here that the hand size is about accurate to most games. So if you were to scale this down so it fits in his hand, it would pretty much be accurate in Unreal Engine, or possibly as well Unity, as long as you use the same kind of measurement scales, which I believe they do. Well, they do. So let's select, if we select this, and we scale, we can move it down. So what we're going to do is select this one, and we can see it's now a different color, and we're going to go to active element and scale that down. It's easier for us. Just like so. I would say that's probably about right for a large spray can. About there. Now we can hide this. Control A, set rotation, scale. Okay. Right, so now what we need to do is the really annoying part, UV editing, unwrapping. Excuse me. I usually do modeling without recording because I sit and listen to music. I'm not sure about everybody else, but I find that music really distracts me and helps me, music really helps me focus, not necessarily distracts. And it just kind of chills me out and enables me to put more attention into the thing that I'm doing on the screen. So I find it quite difficult to slow down so much and try and make modeling tutorials, because I'm so used to going quickly and being in the zone and listening to music that I'm not used to stopping, starting, and just kind of trying to show people how to create an object. Now, there's probably way better versions of this. This is a quick rushed model. I apologize if it's not up to the standards that you want, but this will work for most games and it should look good once textured. So what we're going to do is we're going to go and click on this main model body, and we're going to press the / key where the question mark key is, and this will isolate this part for us. And we want to add seams to our mesh. So let's go to UV editing. Before we do that, actually, we can check something to make sure it's not facing the wrong way. So if we click, let's drag this out a bit. If we click here and then go down to face orientation, you can see the ones that are highlighted in red are faces that are the wrong way around. So technically what would happen now is if we were to export this, you would only be able to see this piece, and this piece here would be invisible because it would be rendering backwards. I've got one of those really annoying hard to reach itches. Okay, so we're going to select it, press tab, press A, press shift and N, and that'll solve that problem. There we go. Split those normals. Okay, so now we're in the UV editing screen. Press tab, and then we want to add cuts, or technically seams, in the places. Let's have a drink. In the places where we would see them in real life. So if you go and pick up a spray can, bug spray, hairspray, try to have a look where there's like seams or edges. That is where you would place the seam. So just up here on this section, right there, we're going to add a seam. We're going to hold, see this part? We're going to create a seam here because we're going to use this to hide most of it. So we're going to hold shift, alt, so we've got one here, one going here, and this one here is going all the way down, but we don't want it to go all the way down to here, so we're going to shift and click, and then we want to add a seam here, hold shift, alt, click, and then we want a seam potentially here. Actually, I should be able to put one there. That should be okay. Okay, press U, mark seam, select A, U, and then angle based. There we go, that's perfect. Now, we're not going to add any detail to these parts. If we were going to add detail to these parts, we would have to straighten them to a degree in order just to have more of a uniform flow of texture. If you don't straighten these and you want texture or detail on them, you're going to end up with warping on the curve point on the outside and inside. You could probably control that using like triplanar projection, warp projection, spherical projection, sphere projection, planar projection. You might be able to control it, but to make it easier, what you could do, you don't have to do this bit, but I'll show you anyway. If we select, I have an add-on that does this for me, because when you make as many models as I do, you get lazy. You can't be bothered doing it anymore or every single time. So if we select this mesh and do grid to shape, it automatically straightens it for me. Now, I'll show you the original method. If we press 2 for edge selection, select this one, and we're going to do S, X, and then 0, S, Y, 0. See that? How it's now straight, and this is going up on an angle, and this is going down on an angle. S, Y, 0, S, X, 0, S, X, 0. Now this here, this face, is perfectly straight and flat. So then we select this one, and then press L with the mouse cursor over it. And then this one's the highlighted face. And then what we're gonna do is right click, follow active quads, and that'll straighten it out for you. You don't always have to do this, but it can help. It just takes a bit more room on the UV grid when you have it bent. Yes. And then scale it up. So the bigger an island, so this would be classed as an island. Any part that's separated as one piece here, any part that's separated would be considered what's called an island. If I go here, you can see packed islands. So these are all the islands. There's currently 4 islands. And the larger each one of these islands, the more texture resolution you end up having. So I'm going to do the quick way with this one. Quick brush up. There we go. There we go. Scale that up. Pop that there. Make sure we don't overlap these edges. Everything has to stay in this grid. Let's bring that down. There we go. Actually, I'm going to move that out, and I'm going to move this. It's like one of those really advanced inventory systems for a game. Grid by shape. There we go. And then it leaves us this space at the top for our nozzle and this part as well. So all I'm doing is pressing G to move it around. Let's see if we can get screencast keys on. It is on, but it's just not showing. Okay, so last piece is this one. So we're going to go slash, and then we're going to select this mesh. Let's go with, so let's go view. There we go. That's why it's important to turn that to a low setting. So 2 Alt and click, click, and then let's do maybe that. See how that looks. U, maximum, and then angle based. Yeah, that's fine for what it is. Actually, no, that won't be fine. Let's get rid of this seam. Let's see what this is like now. U, minimal stretch. Yeah, that'll work. I need this one. So this is synchronized. So whatever we select here, you'll select here. I just need to know which face this is, which is this one. Okay. So select this, scale that up, because we're going to draw on that. So definitely need. Okay. So here's all of our pieces. Let's bring that over. Select this, scale it down. There we go. So that's the model unwrapped and set up. And then what we can do, let's go to layout, press the /. What we can do is we can name these. So this is going to be our, I don't know, what do you even call this? What is it called? I can't remember. Spray valve. And then this is going to be the can body. And then this will be the side seam. So we select all of these. We're going to go Shift D, and then we're going to go and right click, new collection, and then drag and drop them in there, and then we're going to hide them from renders. So we have a backup copy. So this is now going to be our backup copy, and we have this can that we can then texture. So let's join these. So these, and these, Control J. And then what we should be able to do is export this as a mesh, FBX, desktop, FBX. I've already got some, so I'm going to go tutorial, spray can, V1, selected, geometry, normal to face, and then export. And then if I go to my desktop, and then we open this up, I might just make this a one long video, make it more painful for me to edit, coughing. And then we go to file. So this is now in Substance 3D Painter, the Steam edition. This is the 2023 version. I will be getting the 2025 version, but I'm probably gonna let it just see how many updates come out for it and see if it's worth it. I might just hold off until next year's, but see what happens. So file, new, select, tutorial spray can, open, and then okay. Aha, so like an absolute balloon head. I think I've missed something there. Let's see what happened. Yes, okay. Let's select that, G and X. Move that in, like so. There we go, that's better. Let's export this. My mistake. Easy mistake to make. It's just a little bit of an oversight. File, new, select, tutorial, open, discard. Okay, here's this spray can in Substance. We're going to go to this croissant, just at the top, which is our baking tab. Anti-aliasing is going to set to 16, leave everything as default, and then click bake selected. It's a little bit of an issue here. It's not the end of the world because there's not going to be any details on there, so I'm not really that bothered. Click return to painting. Here's our model now baked, ready and set up for texturing. Yep, and it's even got ambient occlusion on, which you can see the darkness. We can increase that for better. For a better look, set this to specular quality to very high, and then what you'll notice, it will get darker as I increase the ambient occlusion. So that looks good. We could do better, but that will do, especially if it's your first model. So let's go over to our environment map, our HDRIs. I'm going to select the Atelier one. Yes, okay, let's start. So we have our model, and let's start with the metal parts. So we're going to get rid of this, layer 1. We're going to add a new fill layer. I'm going to name this one to metal. Control A, Control C. We're going to go select it, Control and G, double click, paste, so we know what it is. And then we're going to add a black mask. We're going to increase the metallic value to 1. Something is either metal or it isn't. No in between. Well, Some scenarios you can use in between, but most of the time you shouldn't. And then we can decrease the brightness, make it a bit grey. Now if we click here on this black mask next to metal, and we go to our selection, and then we can select our UV points. And if we click here and here, done. We now have the metal parts selected. We need to do the bottom as well though. Ooh. There we go. So that's that done. See how simple that was. And then we can do the spray nozzle. So let's zoom in on that. We're going to paint a little black dot there. So let's go with a new layer. It'll overwrite the original layer, but don't worry because you're going to add a black mask to this. So we're going to name this one our spray nozzle. And double click, copy that. Control G, double click, paste it, add a black mask. And now we're going to control this. So we can see here we have our spray nozzle, which is looking fine. Yeah, that's fine. Okay, let's change this to a different color so it's easier to see when we select it, and then click. You'll notice on the inside as well, and we can click and click. So there's our spray nozzle. You could make this red if you wanted to. Any color you want. White, black, grey, dark grey. You know, if you want a green, you can have green. So if you wanted to make these like spray cans for spray painting, graffiti art, you could make a game about spraying bugs, cockroaches, anything you want really. So, or you can make a health spray. So the next thing we're going to do, let's change the color. Let's go with a white. I'm going to add another layer within this one. So let's go and add a layer on top, another fill layer, and this is going to be our nozzle. And then we're going to add a black mask, and then right click, add a paint layer, and I'm going to change this to black. Our paint, go to paintbrush at top left, and hold Control right mouse to make it sharper. Control right mouse to so Control right mouse and move it up sharpens. If you move it left and right, it increases the size. So let's go front view, bring that down about there, and we're just gonna go boom. And then we go to this layer, we can increase the height. So we're gonna set this to -1 in height, and then that'll give us the illusion there that it's a hole. And then if we then go to roughness, bring that all the way up. There we go. So now it looks like there's a nozzle or a section there where it can spray out. Okay, that's that done. And now we can do the center part. So we can add a new layer, drop that below, call this the can body, Control A, select all, Control G to create a group, double click, paste it, and then in here we can add another black mask. We're going to change the color just so we can see our selection easier. Select here, go over to our mask selection, and then click. And now we have a pink spray can. So we can change this to any color we like. We can have gray, and then we can also as well, this rim, you can select metal and click on it, and then we have that metal rim on the side. If you want to download this model, if you subscribe over on Patreon, I'll upload all of the documents there, including the Excuse me, I got an itch. Potentially the blend file as well if you want to follow along or make your own. But yeah, so that's how you would texture a spray can. That's how you would model a spray can. That's how you unwrap a spray can. Now the only thing left to do is to spray the spray can. So let me know how you get on. If you follow along, feel free to join the Discord if you're a YouTube subscriber or a Patreon subscriber, and send me over your versions of this if you followed along. I'd love to see them. So I hope this helps. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye for now.